Let me just preface this by saying that I think it involves sexual violence, and that yes, I was well aware of the birds and the bees at the age of 14 when these events happened. I had 2 Hustler magazines and a few other miscellaneous pictures. I was a curious kid, just like any other kid really, when you get to a certain age. But when I found a VHS tape in a plastic Ziploc bag next to the dumpster by Pizza Hut labeled *ｉnсiдес, I didn't expect anything adult. In fact, it took a while into watching the tape before I even suspected that there was anything adult about it. It was obvious in hindsight, but you'll see how I was confused for so long. So let me back up. Sometimes I'd ride my bike into town, a 15-minute ride, to get pizza for the family, and then I'd head back. My parents were out visiting my extended family one day, and they left money for pizza, so I journeyed to the Pizza Hut and found the aforementioned tape. I was mildly curious. I figured it was going to be some soap operas or pro wrestling, maybe a football game. A normal thing that you would find a tape recorder had recorded. Eating pizza, I popped in the tape and it showed a man being followed with a camera as they entered a house and went into the basement. The house was between my house and the Pizza Hut. It's a house that got raided by the police. Rumor was that it was a crack house, but now I'm not so sure that those rumors were true. In the basement was a woman sitting in a chair in front of a wooden table. I remember vividly that she had red hair and green eyes. It's hard to forget with how despondent she looked. It wasn't immediately disturbing, only after the camera holder and the guy talked for a while. It was clear that she was in another world, or unable to move her body. Most of it, at least. Her head, eyes, and neck would move, but not the rest of her. Her arms and legs were completely still and limp. She didn't seem to understand what the men were saying, because they talked like she wasn't there, and she wasn't paying attention to any of it. I can't remember most of what the guy said, but I do remember one asking if her hands work, and the other responded, "No, of course not, no. But her insides work." After chatting, they hoisted her up on the table by the armpits and laid her down on the table face up, her head falling off the table. Then the camera guy said, "All right, time to get out the tube camera," as the camera in his hand jostled around. Then they cut to footage of a pink tube, an endless tunnel of insides. For some reason, it didn't register as human insides instantly, but more like a monstrous water pipe or some sort of natural feature buried deep inside of a cave somewhere. You might think I'm dumb, but I didn't connect it to the woman in the chair at all. Maybe because all the sound was gone as soon as the shot switched. My mind was puzzling over that as well. The further the camera went in, the less reddish pink it got as it became more and more gray, white, less generally slick and gooey, and more buttery and milky. I wasn't so much grossed out by this like you might think hearing this, more just uneasy and confused. Something about it felt wrong, but not wrong in a visceral way, more conceptually, like claustrophobic or arachnophobic. It felt so alien. Until the camera got snagged on something, and it went darker. The frame jostled to get free and jostled, and then it did, and it pushed a little further, and the light at the end of the tunnel came into focus. The woman's face. Her red hair drooping over her face as she laid against the ground. It was close to her face. You could see her green eyes, irises wide like discs, bloodshot, breathing, her nose fogging up the camera. Then, the camera pulled back in one big motion, revealing a wider angle of the room, revealing that she was naked on the ground, with her body cut in half at the waist. She showed no signs of pain, or panic, or joy, or fear. Nothing. She just blinked a few times, not focusing on the camera. The camera then went back inside the tunnel. My jaw was open, and my heartbeat was in my throat. I took the tape back to the dumpster, and it wasn't until much later that I realized that many of my mental problems were caused by that tape. I had a lot of therapy after that, and basically I don't think I'll ever fully recover from it. I shouldn't have seen that at that age, and I shouldn't have seen that at any age. Sometimes I wonder if I really saw what I think I saw. Maybe it was just normal adult content and I was nervous and felt guilty. Maybe that caused me to make up something. Maybe the adult entertainment industry really is that dangerous. But the further that I think about it, the more I think I'll come to another clearing and see something that I really don't want to see.